Now we'll kick off. Welcome to the Regulatory Process Panel 19th February. So this meeting's being live streamed. What else? Minutes. I was at the last, it was the hearing panel back then. Oh, karakia. Sorry. I'm going to do Leongi. I've got Kahu Pakipaki on my left and
Mel Courtney.
Mel Courtney on my right. Maddie Anderson chairing.
Just Lyndon over there and you've got Dave.
Yeah. Alrighty. I'll start off with Leongi. Ko ha matua a matua ha he langi. Wale atua matua ma matua. Fufunga mai ke whaka putaputanga nei ha motulo. Whakamonui nā mai o motulo ki ako motonu. E tu ngāhua ha kua hingoa tapu ha iso kariso. Ko matul. Ko ha motulo a iki āmene. Alrighty. Now we can start. Okay, we've been live streamed. I was at the last hearing panel meeting. I've gone through the minutes. I'm happy to. We've got, yeah, sorry. We've got no apologies. You happy, Kahi? Okay. See, I was doing it all wrong, wasn't I? Okay.
Nothing wrong with a bit of variation.
Yeah, you guys happy with the confirmation order of business? Okie dokie. Does anyone have any interest to declare?
No, we don't.
Okay, no one lives around there. Okay, there's no public forum. Now I'll do the minutes. Yeah. Okay, I'm happy to move those minutes as correct. Do I have a seconder? Yeah.
Kia ora, I can second that.
Go, Paki. Alrighty. All in favour? All those in favour say aye. Aye. Okay, that's carried. Alrighty, that brings us to 6.1 parking and traffic changes. Okay, thanks, Lyndon.
Morena.
Good morning, councillors. Gina, who's pulled together the report, is actually on leave this week, so I'll take you through it. Hopefully reasonably simple. It's dealing with the installation of no stopping lines at two sites. The first is Pereri Street. It's really about providing safe access for the bus turning into Pereri Street and traffic turning in. If vehicles are parked right up to that corner, then it makes it difficult for vehicles turning in, particularly if there's traffic coming the other way. So the risk there is those turning traffic held blocking the St. Vincent Street. The second is a local parking issue adjacent to Saxon Fields. When the field have significant events, there's a lot of local street parking. This is on a bend adjacent to an access. By putting the no stopping in, we've done it on the inside of the bend, so that would mean that drivers can actually look across that and have a clear view of oncoming traffic and work their way around the corners. I'll take the rest of the report as read and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Welcome, Lyndon. Thank you for your report on behalf of Gina. With regard to Pereri Street, did officers foresee this inevitably coming along, that we have to put yellow, what do you call them, yellow dotted lines, or what do you call them?
The reference is no stoppings.
No stopping lines.
Yes.
Was that sort of seen at the outset? I mean, it's a narrow street. It's in a light industrial area. I just thought it was so, even, is there enough there now? What you've done now, is that enough, you know?
So what we see there is pretty typical of what we have right across the city. The topography of Nelson, the fact that we've got quite an old historic street network means that this occurs quite broadly across the city. The general behaviour of drivers, they understand that they may have to pause, they may have to actually cross the centre line in order to access through these narrow streets. And generally they do that in a manner that works between the two drivers that are there at the time. In this instance, because it is on a bus route and actually those vehicles are a bit longer, it just sort of raises the level of angst in this situation. But it's not something that we would be treating every intersection for, because parking is quite sacrosanct in the city as well. So in these situations where it's raised to our attention, we make an assessment based on safety and look at balancing that against the desire for parking in these busy areas. So yes, it's something that occurs throughout the city, but it's not something that we would treat without looking at and varying from the standard.
Thank you. I have a question on the other one. Can we do this one first?
Yeah, Pariri, I've got a question. When I saw the report, I went down and had a look at the site. And it is quite congested in that corner. There's a cut down that goes into the Turner's yard. That's a legal access way?
And yes, it is. It's got temporary removable bollards there. Yeah. I think that, and therefore we generally wouldn't mark no stopping over a driveway. But in this instance, because the use of that driveway is not clear, it just makes sense to extend the no stopping beyond it.
Yeah, of course.
Just to make it really clear to people that they can't park there. If we stopped before and just assumed that people would see it was a driveway and wouldn't park there, I'm sure we'd get people that decide that actually it's not an access way and therefore they can park.
Yeah, because there were three factors that I noticed down there, and I'm quite familiar with road markings and developments of new subdivisions.
Yes.
And one of the things that occurred to me is not only is it there's an access way for the property, whether there's gates or bollards there, it doesn't matter. If it's a designated entry, it's supposed to be kept clear. The rest of the car parks that are running down that left-hand side of Pariri Street have also got parking indicating lines on them. So the spaces indicating that it's for parking, but that section doesn't. Also, pretty much in the middle of it is a fire hydrant, which you can't park on anyway. So really taking sort of the two other factors of the access way and the fire hydrant, there's really only one car park available there anyway, and it's not clearly indicated that that's for parking. So it doesn't really, and it definitely, while I was there, a bus actually came around the corner, and that extra little distance that it required just to align itself with Pariri Street made total sense. So I've got no issues with it whatsoever. It's a good assessment, and I think it's if we go ahead with it, there won't be any problems.
Thank you.
Thanks. I've got a couple of questions. So who was the party that requested the park to be removed? Bus.
So it came from the bus company.
Okay. And the affected parties, is that the building straight across, or are you also including the residents? There's not that many. There'd
be a letter drop around that vicinity, and it would have gone on Shaq Nelson as well.
Yeah, I'm in Councillor Paki's camp. It seems quite sensible. Any more questions on Pariri? Nope. Can we carry on?
Well, I'll swing off with a question if I can, Mr. Chair. I was just looking I went down to Daylin as well and had a look down there. It's a tight corner. It really is a tight corner. But one of the things that I noticed from the overheads, just looking the two main affected properties, I think that are there is number 56 and 58. Because the other property adjacent coming down Boysenberry Grove, number 2, has its street, it doesn't really affect its street frontage parking, so to speak. Has there been, because this is a kind of an entryway, I guess, access way, mainly for pedestrians. I myself, I've got family members that just live around the corner from there, which was convenient for me to go and have a look. But when we go over to the Oval or into the Saxon Fields, there's quite a few, I mean, it's chock-a-block full of cars. People come through that back way and park through there. Has it, like, this is not super related to this, but there been any consideration of making some car parking available in the 2 spaces on either side of the footpath that runs to the bridge? It's not super important, but it's just more out of interest.
That's not something that I'm aware that they've looked at. That would be, well, we could look at something like that in the context of our parking management plan. We're looking at reviewing our parking strategy, and under that strategy, we have a number of parking management plans. And it may be something that's looked at in the context of the Saxton Field management plans.
I've been down there on Saturday mornings, and it's quite to navigate your way around that corner. It is quite precarious. And I just wonder, because there is ample parking around the facility itself and the whole fields within it. But of course, the proximity to the Oval in particular seems to be one that maybe it would only be in temporary, or just when there's events and stuff on it that it's probably used. But Saturday mornings is definitely a thing down there. And so really, what was the number of car parks that you think that you're accumulated on the inside part of the bend? Not really worried about the outside part.
Yeah, I don't have that number in front of me, but looking at it, I would say that probably you might get 7 or 8 vehicles around that bend.
And has there been any periodic sort of inspections of that there, just to gauge the number of cars that are parked there during the regular hours of the week?
Regular hours of the week, I don't think there'd be high usage.
Yeah. So there's no
after school sport, those sorts of things. I think that's when you'd get the usage.
Has any of the staff had an opportunity just to have a look to sort of gauge? I know it's a limited survey type thing, but to actually go down, because I took the time to go down and have a look. I've been there plenty of times before, but I haven't paid much attention to it, apart from noticing that it's when all the cars are there on Saturday morning and the soccer and stuff is on.
Yeah, so as part of this process, those properties would have been letter dropped.
Yes.
So Gina and Zoe would have gone out and wandered through that area, dropped those letters and that sort of thing. Mm. So I can get some feedback on what it was like when they were doing that.
Yeah, did we get any responses from the 2 properties that I mentioned that are actually on the Dayland, not the Boysenberry Grove one?
So the feedback we've got to the proposal was supportive. So I wasn't aware of any negative feedback on that one.
Okay, Kapo, that's me. I'm happy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Lyndon, it looks pretty straightforward to me, but I'm just wondering why, and if you do know, don't want to be difficult, but why have you got no stopping lines on both sides? On the right and the left of the screen here, I see them on both sides, you see. What is the issue there to cause that to be necessary?
So it was just reinforcing the crossing points that we've put in place for pedestrian access, really encouraging them to be kept clear. So you'll see the yellow tactiles when you look at that picture. So they're the markers that show people with vision impairments and that direct them to the specific crossing points. So we've tried to ensure that they are kept clear. And on the right side, closest to Boysenberry Grove, we think there's enough room for a space beyond that pedestrian access. without restricting visibility around the bend. And the same again on the left side, that we think there's space for a vehicle, but we really want to make sure that people don't park over the pedestrian cut down that provides those access at either side of that curve.
Oh, good. Thank you for that. Yes, that makes sense to me. I don't think I have any other questions, Mr. Chair.
It's actually occurred another question if I can through the chair. Through the chair, what are the regulations? Because there's some quite strict rules around pedestrian crossings, designated pedestrian crossings. I also noticed from Boysenberry Grove onto Day Lynn, I think is it a 6 metre from the centre point of the radius around where you can't park within that space of the corner anyway. So that means that pretty close we'd exclude on the image that you're looking at, the right hand side. So that's kind of taken care of anyway. Are there any rules around is it designated as a recognised pedestrian access way in the absence of a pedestrian crossing?
No, it's not, but it's that same curb cut down application of here is it clear. And so a driveway and those things, it's that standard meter.
Well, then that satisfies the next part of what I'm heading towards through the chair, because that means that the lines that are on the left-hand side of the page on Dayland Drive, those two adjacent to the cut downs, and the ones that are on the right-hand side, we really don't even need to talk about them. We're just talking about putting some extra lines in to further reinforce the.
And that's correct. But we find that in some instances, like we have here, additional clarity to those points.
Perfect.
Just makes it easier, and it makes it much simpler for those deciding to park or not park. And it makes it very clear for our enforcement that things become very black and white.
Great, because that resolves that for me, I think, and if it's really a tool, it's a use. There's things in place, and it's just basically helping the community. So really, we're only talking about the band that runs around, excluding the 1.5 metres, which you shouldn't be parking next to a cut down anyway. But you're just also helping the properties on either side as well, though, the 56, 58.
Yeah, and it's similar to our conversation about Periri Street, is that we wouldn't generally mark over an entranceway, because people should know that, but it's reinforcing because often people don't behave as though they know.
So the purpose really of what we're doing here, just for the public, anyone that's viewing at the moment, is that we're just really talking about the inside band, and that's really all of the car parks that are being lost there.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Yes, so I think we often have a conversation about actual car parks versus perceived car parks, because those are two very different things.
Thank you. I've got a couple. It's more about the document and understanding if anyone's listening. I've asked before, can you explain the difference between, so we were talking about risks and disadvantages, minor loss of perceived parking as opposed to removal of one parking space. So what is perceived parking?
So I think perceived parking's the conversation we've just had, where actually someone might think that they can park there, but actually because it's a driveway or something else, it's not in the regulatory environment. They could be ticketed for parking over that driveway. Periri Street's a very good example, because when you look there and you see they've got some bollards in, there's cars parked, they can't actually, they have to do stuff to get those cars out and use it as an everyday driveway. People can perceive that actually it's not a driveway, I can just park there. But they can't.
And the other one, around understanding the document. So the clauses, clause 1 and 2. So I may have dug into this a little bit too far. I see clauses when they relate to the bylaw, but I'm a little bit confused how I referenced clause 1 and 2 in the document when I go through and try and find a bold heading on of what clause 1 and 2 is. If I may have thought about this too much. I was looking at it last night.
So that reference in the option is referring back to the 2 recommendation clauses at the front of the report. So are you talking about paragraph 16?
Just in the recommendations, we were recommending we go with clause references clause 1 and 2. Is that page 6 and 7? Is it?
So paragraph 16 talk about recommendation clauses 1 and 2.
Yeah, it talks about clauses 1 and 2, but I was looking for a bold, something in bold that says clause 1 and read under what is clause 1, but rather than keep referring to recommendations relating to clause 1 and 2. But I was trying to find what is clause 1 and 2.
So just for clarity, that reference in paragraph 16 may choose to amend recommendation clauses 1 and 2. And back on the first page of the report, it's recommendation 1 and recommendation 2.
Oh, okay.
So so that's just the number of the clauses in the recommendation, and it's referencing 16 and 17 is referencing back to those 2 clauses.
Yeah, happy with that. It was just a little thing I was digging in a bit too deep last night. Any more questions? Yeah, thank you, Linda. That was really helpful. Do we have any debate, guys? Yep. So we're happy taking them together. Okay. So recommendation taken together 1 and 2.
I'll move that.
Okay, moved by Councillor Courtney. Option 1. Both of them, option 1, taken together as per officer recommendations. Councillor Courtney, you happy to move? And
Yes.
Councillor Pakipaki, second. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So carried. Okay, I'll close with karakia. Thank you for the nudges and help, team. Appreciate it. Was reading a bit too long last night. Okay, I'll close with closing Leongi. Ko motula aiki ha motula matua, whakawakihi hao laweki ka motula kia honu nei, ko ole atu ke laweki au motulu, hingo tapua iso koriso, ameni. So we're closed.